Hi, this is Nikki Woods, and as I've told you all year long, even though we're still pretty early in, all of 2015 for me is going to be devoted to bringing you information, education, resources, and also experts that can help you not only build better businesses, but live better lives. And so I am turning back to my BFF in my head, Lisa Stevens Bradley, who has really changed her life since 2006. She went on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She had to take some, long, hard looks at not only her money, but also her life and figure out how she was going to do things differently. And once she figured it out, she decided she was going to help others do things differently. So she has, she's not only built a business around mental health, but she also talks a lot about finance and how we can, your finances and how we can live better lives there too. So welcome back, Lisa.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So today I want to talk about our plans. We've talked about our self-care plan in a previous interview, but today I want to talk about more of the technical part of our business and the financial part. So I want to talk about savings plans, and business plans.
Okay, great.
Okay? So tell me a little bit about how these plans and the difference between them, but also how these plans can help us in our business and avoid a lot of stress and challenges in our business.
Great, sure. A business plan definitely incorporates a financial plan. But I think oftentimes when I talk to entrepreneurs or people who are interested in starting a business or going with the business, they have all these great ideas, but no concrete plans or goals or benchmarks to reach to get there. So to me, that's the business planning side of it. How do I take these great ideas out of my head and put them on paper? How am I going to make money doing what I enjoy doing? Because we love it doesn't mean that we know how to market it. Doesn't mean that we know how to create a value around it. Doesn't mean that people are going to be interested in it because our hearts are a part of it.
Right.
So having a plan about what are those steps that I'm going to take to get my business going? What do I need to read and study in order to truly become not just someone that's interested in this topic, but I'm an expert, and I'm very knowledgeable about this topic or this idea or this area. Business plan consists of thinking outside of that box and realizing, even though I may like the same thing or there's a similar business, what is not being done in this industry that will still allow me to focus, in my case, maybe mental health. Mm-hmm. There's lots of mental health counseling out there, but what is not being done in mental health, and how can I take a great topic, not only collaborate or network with a group of people that are already doing something in this area, but they will value the little bit or the little nugget of difference that I'm bringing to them. So to me, a business plan is what are those steps that are going to take me there? What is my timeline in order to reach each of these business benchmarks? What are going to be my goals that I'm going to look at to measure my success, to measure when I'm ready to, if you're doing the parallel business, if you're working one job and transitioning into the other, how do you know that you're really ready to make that transition? What is going to be your bail that says, okay, I've reached this point, I'm going to go there. So all of those typical templates that are easy to find on internet, websites, listening to great sessions such as the one that we're doing in interviews, those are the simple pieces to me as the business. The savings plan is where I see many businesses fail because people have a great idea and they think people are going to just automatically grab their passion, their heart, they're going to love it. They count on their friends, thinking their friends are going to make their business a success. They think I'm going to partner with my cousin,
right,
my husband, my whatever, which is already another, mistake in most cases. I hate to say that. I love my family, but I also know my boundaries. Let's keep my mom and not my business partner. But the savings plan, you have to really be clear on what does that mean? What does the money of your business mean to you? Why are you going into this? Is it to make money? Is it to make yourself available for more time for your family? Maybe I'm working too much at what I'm doing and I want to be a part-time worker that has the same amount of revenue coming in as working full-time. Is it something that you plan on expanding or branding bigger than localized where you are? Is this a web marketable business that you can do? And how can you make money doing this without doing anything? Because oftentimes, our time or our presence is required to make that money. But how can I turn this into a way to make money that I'm still making money while I sleep?
Yeah, we call that back of the head money. That money that just keeps hitting you in the back of the head. You don't even see it coming.
Don't even say that you enjoy it when it gets there.
Yes.
So you need to be clear on that savings plan. How much money is it going to take to cover my expenses at home? So how much do I know I need to bring in so that I'm not getting behind on my car payment or my mortgage payment? Because I've been in that situation, and I've learned once I got 1 month behind on a bill, I was never able to catch up.
Yeah.
Never able to catch up. So you need to be clear on this is what I need in order to continue to provide for myself or my family each month. So this is a non-compromising amount. And what is it that I need to also run the business? One of the challenges that I had in the beginning is I didn't calculate taxes that I had to pay on employees being an extra expense, because there is a part of that I have to pay that's a lot of times more significant than the employee themselves. Health insurance, am I going to offer benefits to staff that work for me? What type of support staff am I going to need to run this, and what salaries are appropriate in that field or aligned with other things in that field so that I can attract the right person, so that I'm not duplicating my work, and I'm not carrying more work than I need to be because I have the right support systems. So the savings plan to me is mapping out what do you need in order to get into this business and be successful. Oftentimes we realize, or we write out what we want to make when we get there and how we're going to do it. There's some steps you have to take in order to get up to that point and be clear, so that, again, you will know your benchmarks for when you're ready to be that business and what is going to determine your success. I'm making it, or am I succeeding with this business? And there's a difference in whether I'm just making enough to pay my bills, or I'm making enough to do some of the things that I want to do with my money.
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a really good point that a lot of us don't think of, because we are just following our passion, or we are in it just to provide a service. But really doing the research. One of the questions you ask, and I talk a lot about people that want to, to people that want to start businesses, and have you looked around and seen what needs to be filled? What void people have? I mean, you look at Spanx and Snuggies. I mean, they came up with, a simple concept that filled a real need that people had, and they made millions doing it. But a lot of us want to jump in and we want to do something, and then there's 10,000 other people doing the exact same thing. So have we really done the research on our business before we decide to go in it? And a lot of us get hung up because we don't want to do that kind of thing. We don't want to do the research, or we don't know what research needs to be done.
Right. And it's so easy because you can survey your friends, you can put things on Facebook, Twitter, social, and just ask questions. And when you start to see, I know when I've hit the button, when I start getting tons of responses, and it's like, oh, this is a good question that I'm asking, and pay attention to the responses that you're getting. Because believe it or not, the very people that you communicate with on a friendly basis every day, or that are in these social media networks, there's the one that can help you identify that gap or that need that needs to take place in that area that you're interested in.
And people, they often want to help. I mean, they often want their voices to be heard, and they want to give input. I was talking to, I was at a conference, and I was like, I never just post a question on Facebook. I mean, it's always for something. It might be research for a book I'm writing, or it might be research for a new product. But and they seem like the most, general of questions, but they really do help. And like you said, people really do want to give input, and you can judge based on what you're getting back.
Yes.
And speaking of social media, another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because I think that we as entrepreneurs become so isolated sometimes, because we're so focused on our business, and we're so focused on getting this done, and we're in our, in our house on our computer, and we're doing hopefully our research or whatever. What do you suggest to entrepreneurs on how to use social media, but also how to just get, build relationships with other entrepreneurs and also their customers?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. Social media is a great leverage, especially when you're starting out, and you have to be comfortable with it. I had to learn to separate my brand from my personal first of all. So you've got to recognize if you want people to look at you as an expert in that area, set up your social media to gear yourself in that direction. Even if you have to have a separate page, a separate Facebook page, one for your business or your passion, and one that's your personal, because that's actually a dual way to tap into your resources and get additional information from, potentially two types of audience: your friend, as well as people that are just following you because they're interested in the very thing that you're talking about. I also had to learn to discipline myself and recognize that social media is a part of my job. We live in a world where social media is king. So I had to start allotting time to treat that just like I do reading my emails, to treat that just like I do doing my payroll. Let me get out here once a day and see what people are talking about in blogs and on social media that are similar to myself by following these people. But also now, what can I contribute? What thoughts did that trigger? Oftentimes it triggers new thoughts for me, new ideas, new questions as I'm reading someone else's article. It's like, wow, I wonder this and I wonder that. And social media allows me to touch thousands of people in 2 minutes with what I have to say. And networking is still great. I'm still old school and believe in face-to-face networking is still the best way to do it. But even when we can't, social media now with Google Hangouts and so many opportunities to create specialized groups on social media such as Facebook and Twitter, it's another way to build your network and collaborate and get information as well as give information to people that are out there. So I think there's significant power in stepping out of that comfort zone and using that as a tool to build your business and brand yourself in the area that you're going into as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I don't know anybody on social media that's just there to hang out. Nobody I'm connected to anyway. I mean, it really is about how we can leverage our brands and our businesses. And I tell people all the time, I mean, you are your brand. So even on your personal page, I mean, there's certain things I won't do or I won't say because I don't want it to tarnish my brand and what people expect of my brand. So whereas I may post more personal things, like motivational quotes or pictures of my kids doing something cute, I'm not going to go on a tirade because, my neighbor turned my water on yesterday. I was so mad she turned my water on yesterday and then forgot to turn it off. But I'm not going to post that on social media and I'm not going to go on a tirade. I'm not going to, there's certain things that I just won't do because I know it will affect my brand. But what I love about social media is that it gives you the opportunity to be social and then to take that socialization offline. So I have people that I collaborate with, people that have become friends, people that have become close colleagues that I met on social media, but then we were able to develop something off social media. And I love that. I love that opportunity to meet somebody in China, and develop a collaboration or a working relationship or, become a client of theirs or theirs of mine just based on some interaction we had on social media.
Yes, it's huge. And you talk about the personal aspect. Sometimes that is the very thing that drives people to you. Wow, she's a mother. Just that empathy alone. That loves her kids and she shows it. Or she's married and happily married. So that's what I want. So I want to connect with her solely because she has it or because someone is in my same situation. So I found that you're right. I don't go on tyrants and temper tantrums on Facebook, but sometimes adding that personal touch is a part of your brand so people get to know you personally and how special you are and some of the uniqueness that you can bring to your own brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then just the going into a business, I want to talk a little bit about this before we close for today, but just going in with that realistic face of business. I mean, some people are overnight successes and some people are able to start their business up and start making money right away. But what is the more realistic part of entrepreneurship?
Realistically, I think people need to go in not expecting to make a profit the first year to 2 years sometimes. I think the IRS has like a 3 to 5 year window where they will switch it from if you're not making a profit that you're actually doing a hobby, and they label it a hobby. So I think that the first year people need to, think about it in terms of measuring their progress in other ways than their monetary progress. Did I make this many contacts? Did I get at least something booked, setting small, short-term goals. I know people like to go out for a year, but what is it that I want to do within the next 30 days, within the next 60 days? Because you feel like you're accomplishing and growing as you're starting on something brand new. And that's what we've got to realize. There's nothing instant. There's nothing instant about success. And even with myself, having a one focus on the business was not working. I had to learn how to diversify my business plan. Even though I may be doing mental health, and again, as I said, we look at it in terms of counseling. What else can I do? I started providing services in the home to remove one obstacle for people, the embarrassment of coming into an office. So I opened myself up to a whole nother revenue stream in that way. I started offering training programs about identifying stress, people that are dealing with anxiety and other mental health disorders in the workplace. Same topic, but I diversified it to create another business plan and another revenue stream. So I say all that to say that oftentimes you need multiple revenue streams coming in order to ever consider yourself to be working toward any sort of financial freedom and financial success. So think about your business not in an alley or with tunnel vision, but think about it in terms of rays of sunlight. How can I take this thing and make it shine in so many different directions that everybody's always going to be under my light, my direction, and my guidance?
Oh, I love that.
And that will make a difference in you not getting overwhelmed, not feeling like you're failing at one point. Because I found no matter what you're doing, one area is going to be making money while the other is not. No windfall is forever. So you've got to be prepared to say, what else can I do? What other options can I? So every time when I reach one point, I say, what's the next big thing that I can do with this? How can I build on it? And that I'm able to do that because of my short-term goals. And I feel more accomplished, capable. And when I fail, it's easier to accept failing a short-term goal than it is something that was way ahead that I really wasn't ready to reach anyway. Right. And I've already looked at it as failure. It's hard.
Right, but it allows you to make the changes that you need to make in order to, because you can still reach the long-term goal. You just might have to do it in a different way. And I think I would only add to that is that you have to always know what the trends are in your business and in business in general, because obviously we're doing business a lot different now than we did 10 years ago. Yes. So to stay on top of those trends, I mean, I've seen a lot of people who had a business and no longer have a business because they weren't really looking at the trends and they weren't facing reality on how business, is done differently and how business changes over certain periods. So
yes, absolutely. And I've seen people that, they're not really using a true tracking system. Like I use QuickBooks so that I know everything that's coming in and coming out at a quick glance. I'm not relying on my bank statements alone. I'm dealing with something that's real time every time I use like a QuickBooks. So identifying tools and resources like that so that you're in your reality, you're living in your truth every minute of that day, and not when you decide to pull it up and look at it as you remember from Oprah, I opened up my bills 12 months after they came. And
wow.
I felt like I didn't know it.
Right, if you don't see it, it's not there, it's not there.
I don't think about that outfit because I don't really owe anything that I'm aware of. But you've got to be aware. You've got to know every day what's going on in your business. And the final point that I would like to say also for me is I had to adjust myself more than I did even my goals, how I reacted to people. And I was so used to dealing with friends and family. And I had to recognize this is a whole nother thing when I'm dealing with someone who works with me or someone who works for me. I had to learn that the camaraderie is not the key here. I want to be friendly, but I'm not your friend. And that was hard for me considering I'm an extremely friendly person and I love people. So it's a big mind shift change in that sense that I had to look at myself. What is the difference in Lisa Bradley, the person, and Lisa Bradley, the business leader?
Lisa Bradley, the boss.
I need, So I really had to, really shift into that boss mindset and not the friend, not your colleague, not that I'm trying to help you win. It sounds selfish, but it was in the sense that I had to say, this is about me, and I'm in control of how I make this happen, by what I allow you to do, what I allow in my space, what I allow in my company. And once I owned that, it really started to take off as a true business because it was a value system I had to establish and create for myself, my staff, and my company.
No, and I think that's an amazing point because I think that what I have found one of the most satisfying things for me in my business is that I am able to provide jobs for people, and I am able to provide, an income for somebody. I have an assistant who, tells me all the time all the things she's able to do now because she works for me, and I have a certain perspective as a single mother, because I place more value on happy employees than just necessarily employees that are producing at a certain amount. Because I think the happier we are, the more we produce anyway. Yes. And I think that, but like you said, I mean, with that comes certain boundaries, because at the end of the day, I am responsible for continuing to grow this company. And so we have to have a certain environment. So I think that's key.
Yes.
That's key.
Can't compromise your own happiness and goals for the happiness of someone else. Because I've found that there's certain, people have different drives for what makes them happy and motivates them. And what I've realized, my new philosophy in business is, I cannot motivate you. You already have to have that environment in which you utilize that motivation that you possess, but I can't give it to you.
Yes.
So if you bring that to the table, I can create a culture and environment which it will grow and grow and grow. But at the minimum, you've got to come in motivated to help me reach the goals that I have for this company. If your goals align with that, great, which is one of the questions I ask in interviews all the time. You've got to learn to become a good interviewer as well. I used to hire by connecting with people. Oh, she was so sweet. Oh, I love her shoes. Oh my gosh, she had amazing hair. That's all I got was great shoes that worked for me, beautiful hair, but I never got great employees, which hindered my financial growth. It hindered, the culture and environment in my company, which took me years to recognize. What questions do I need to ask
right.
to get a true person to come in? So it was tough, and I still have challenges. But every day, like I said, I grow. What was that challenge? What did I do? And what can I do different in order to not encounter that again? So very business resilient.
Yes. But like you said, I mean, I think that we're also now in a culture where people like, myself and yourself, I mean, we share the information based on things that we've been through. Or, like if I haven't been through it, I rely on experts like you to share what you've been through. I mean, this is an environment where if you really want to know it, you can do so, sometimes free, sometimes at an expense, but it's there for you to gain. I mean, I know that you coach people in their businesses, and also, as you said, you provide certain mental health services. So I encourage people to look you up online at IamLisaBradley.com so that they can find out exactly how you're serving the community and to connect with you in that way. So I am thrilled to be connected to you, and I really just thank you for giving of yourself and your knowledge and all of that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to do so.